Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of the African television, and welcome to yet another edition of Health Update on Vision 4, the African television. Health Update is your weekly bilingual program where we talk about everything concerning your health to help you update your health in every sense of the word. And this week, we held another topic for you, which is sexual education amongst youth. Young adults, girls in particular. This comes at a time when a young girl in Douala, littoral region of Cameroon, is said to have committed suicide given or after her incapacity to tell her parents about her pregnancy. It brings to light the problems of unsafe abortions in our society, but also suicide following the incapacity to talk to our various family members, parents, guardians about our pregnancies or about sexual activity, sexual education as a whole. And to do that today, to discuss that topic today, we have with us two peer educators in the persons of Ba Emmanuel and Yu Cloud, who will be expounding on this topic, but this will only be after the transition.
C'est l'actualité sanitaire majeure de ces derniers jours. 3 fœtus arrivés au monde à 25 semaines de grossesse ont aussitôt perdu la vie du côté de Douala. La famille révoltée accuse l'hôpital de district de Lok Baba de négligence. Communiqué daté du 24 janvier, l'établissement hospitalier exprime ses plus sincères condoléances à la famille et s'est engagé à améliorer les conditions de soins pour tous les patients. Du côté de Yaoundé, le centre hospitalier universitaire connaît une révolution médicale. Une vingtaine d'enfants atteints de cancer ont été guéris après des séances de chimiothérapie. Une performance scientifique qui démontre les progrès dans le système de santé camerounais. La prévention du diabète et ses complications était également d'actualité cette semaine. Le ministre de la Santé publique a posé les jalons des initiatives majeures pour la santé publique au Cameroun lors d'une discussion avec le docteur Martin Ikoumou, médecin-chercheur et professeur d'université. Les travaux de ce médecin visent à réduire l'incidence du diabète au sein de la population. L'on enregistre également cette semaine l'appui d'un nouveau partenaire dans la lutte que mène le Cameroun contre les maladies tropicales négligées. Science Saver, puisqu'il s'agit de lui, est reconnu d'après le ministère de la Santé publique pour son expertise dans la promotion de la santé oculaire. Cette collaboration vise donc à éradiquer les maladies comme l'onchocercose, le crachome ou encore la filariose lymphatique qui continuent d'affecter la qualité de vie des populations, principalement en zone rurale. Voilà qui fait l'actualité sanitaire de cette semaine. N'oubliez pas, la santé et l'amour sont des épices sans lesquelles l'or et l'argent sont fades.
The fear of informing guidance about unintended pregnancy can be overwhelming for adolescents, leading to feelings of anxiety, depression, and even suicide. It is the case of the young girl in Dokpasi Douala who committed suicide because of the fear to announce her pregnancy to her parents.
It depends how they are living in the house with their parents. How she was living with her parents in the house, and it depends how they were conversing with her mom, the relationship in the house between her and the parents in the house.
She saw and again a 17 years old. That is just like, she's afraid.
The situation first is bad, really, really bad. I think her parents wouldn't kill her because she got pregnant at a tender age.
This phenomenon highlights the urgent need for open communication between parents and children. Cameroonians met downtown Yaoundé lament the lack of sexual education and discussion within families.
Parents have to talk about sexuality with her with her daughter.
For the fact that parents will discuss the sexual part for their children, let them tell them what is sex, and let them tell them that when you do sex with your friend, you have to be protected. Even if you be protected, if anything happen.
10 years old, getting pregnant, it's normal, birth. There is always a birth. I think as parents, we all as women, we need to teach our children on sexual activities. We need to tell them when to start having sex, because at that age, she has to concentrate on her books, study, to have something doing before thinking of such things.
This issue is particularly pressing in Africa, where discussing sex with children is often taboo. As a result, young girls are exposed to the devastating consequences of unintended pregnancy, including mental health crises, isolation, and even death.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you are still on Vision 4 television, and you are watching Health Update on Vision 4. As I told you at the very beginning, today we received two young peer educators in the persons of Ba Emmanuel and Yu Cloud. They are peer educators with a non-governmental organization in Cameroon who will be discussing with us sexual education. But this comes just after a report that we just watched. It is a young lady in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, who committed suicide after her inability to tell her family members, parents, guardians about her pregnancy. It may have as well led her to an unsafe abortion if she had decided to stay alive. But why is it so difficult to tell our parents, our guardians, about our sexual lives? That's what we'll be trying to discuss in today's program. But before we do so, let's go around our guests. Emmanuel on my left and Cloud on my right. They will be telling us if they know about the story. Do you know about this story, Cloud? That's a very particular name, though.
Thank you. I know about the story. It's actually a sad one, because this is just one of the cases one of the cases we've actually heard about, because they are bound. Not because they don't come up to television doesn't mean they don't exist. They range from suicide, abortion, and even trauma. Because in one of the schools where I was a peer educator, we had a case of a girl who was pregnant. She actually got the opportunity to go back to school because she kept the child. She told her parents, gave birth to that child. But the trauma that came after that, not from her parents only, because her parents constantly reminded her how she failed them by first getting pregnant in the first place. And even her peers
will do that.
Yes, exactly. So,
Emmanuel, on your side, have you ever heard of stories like this one?
Definitely, though it didn't actually lead to suicide, but the trauma which followed afterwards, as well as the social decline from the students, was one to be concerned about. As well, one of the schools where I got the chance to go and advocate, there was this from two students. He walked up to us after we asked that they could share their personal stories with us privately, because for them to open up and feel more comfortable. And his story was that he unfortunately got to start watching pornography at a very young age of 11 years while he was still in Form 2, because some of his classmates pushed him and even engaged into sexual activities that same day after they watched pornography. And the trauma that followed afterwards, it stayed on with him, and he didn't find it easy associating again with friends, regardless of those whom they pushed him into it.
Quite an unfortunate situation. With the advent of social media in Cameroon and the world at large, it is quite difficult to be able to put our children on track. I think that's the essence of non-governmental organizations like HOVUCA, for which you work. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, definitely. It's my pleasure. So HOVUCA stands for Hope for Vulnerable Children's Association, and we have as mission to use education, research, community partnerships, as well as advocacy to facilitate the access of vulnerable children to child protection systems. And While we do so, we also help break the barriers for girl children, thereby promoting gender equality.
Therefore, today we are talking about promoting gender equality, reducing violence against girls, and risky sexual behaviors amongst young people. At the time when we're talking about gender parity here and there, very soon it will be the 8th of March. We talk about gender equality, gender parity for some others. Why is it important to promote gender equality amongst young people in Cameroon?
Promoting gender equality amongst young people in Cameroon is actually very important.
I like the accent on very.
It's very important, first of all, because promoting gender equality means an improvement in economic outcome, which is to say that according to the African Development Bank, they said that a reduction in gender inequality in education and the workforce is going to lead to an increase to about $316 billion in Africa's gross domestic product.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money. Now, even in our homes, in our Cameroonian homes, we equally have dependency, a lot of dependency, especially for women, because they don't have the opportunity to go out and fend for themselves. So gender equality is going to mean an increase in household income. Not only at that level, gender equality too, if it is promoted, it is going to lead to a reduction in gender-based violence, because it is going to promoting gender equality is going to challenge the stereotypes, the harmful stereotypes and cultural practices that have been seen as legal, whereas they are not, such as early marriages, especially for females, female genital mutilation, and even breast ironing. These are things that have actually hindered the growth of youth in general, though they are practiced mostly on women.
What are some of these risky sexual behaviors practiced by young people in Cameroon, and how do these behaviors affect their health?
Okay, so there are a lot of these risky sexual behaviors practiced by youth. We have, first of all, early engagement in sexual activities, unprotected sex, multiple sex partners, and the use of harmful drugs and alcohol. All these factors have the same consequences, because once you are involved in one, it cuts across most of them. We have the consequences such as easy exposure to STIs, sexually transmittable diseases, such as HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis,
chlamydia.
Yes, there are a lot of them, which some of them are not even curable. Though some of them are curable now, but most of them are not curable. Even at that, we have abortion. They are exposed to taking the option of abortion, just like the young girl who killed herself. She didn't want to take the option of abortion
because she didn't know how she was going to live with that after she had a child.
Exactly. That too equally is one of the consequences. And we equally have unwanted pregnancies. And we have young girls now who become mothers, and they say in Pidgin, they say child born, pikin born. Yeah. So it's actually very, very...
What Emmanuel, what are the primary factors contributing to risky sexual behaviors in Cameroon at the moment?
The first thing I can say about this is, like the verse in the Bible says, my people perish because of
lack of knowledge.
So it's definitely lack of knowledge, especially CSE, which is comprehensive sexuality education, because the youths, even parents themselves, they lack knowledge about this particular topic, and that is why at times in most Cameroon families, find it difficult for them to talk about such. At times it's really considered even a taboo, where a father cannot really talk to his daughter or to his son.
Do you really think that it's because they don't have knowledge about this that they don't talk about it, or is because they actually think that it is not conventional? Because to me, it feels like the parents actually know that they're supposed to talk about this with their children. They know about it, but they feel bizarre sitting their children down and giving them lessons on sexual education.
It's true that they do know they need to talk about it, but there are some various facets which they ignore. Talking about, let's say, even contraception, because it's true that most parents don't really want to encourage their children to actually engage into sexual activities, and thereby needing, let's say, contraception or the use of condoms and all the like. So to an extent, they lack the knowledge about it. Even the youths themselves, they lack knowledge about CSE. They lack knowledge about their own personal health, how to take care of themselves, how to carry themselves even in the community, so as not to attract, let's say, the wrong entourage. And aside that, even I would say another factor is lack of finances as well, because most young girls who, let's say, they do this, there's this trend going on which is called hookup, which is, some call it prostitution in disguise. It's true that most of these young girls, they actually do lack the money to take care of themselves, and that is why they have to rely on selling their bodies to be able to fend for themselves.
All right, very well. Let me go to Cloud, who will be talking about some of these violent practices perpetrated on girl children in Cameroon that stops them from reaching their full potential. You were a few minutes ago talking about breast ironing, amongst others. There's also female genital mutilation.
Yeah. This particular aspect is really a call for concern, because, like Emmanuel said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. For example, early marriages. 31% of girls get married before the age of 18 in Cameroon, which is
alarming statistics.
Yes, alarming statistics, because they go into it, they don't even know what it is, and that will lead them to getting into sexual activities, getting pregnant, and that is
but
just...
when, if you're married, you're getting into sexual activity is normal.
Yeah, and that is an end to their educational aspirations and all the like. We equally have female genital mutilation. Though it is declining, we still have 21% in northern communities who still practice these behaviors, and which it is very dangerous to the girl child. Though they think they are helping, but it is dangerous not only to their system, but the trauma that comes after that too. It matters.
True. So what are the strategic interventions that are put in place, especially by HOVIUCA, that will help or that are designed to eradicate this violence method on young girls, amongst others?
So at HOVIUCA, we do community outreaches, like we mentioned, because we partner with different communities, especially the underrepresented communities, the suburbs where they don't really have much knowledge about comprehensive sexual education, and even those same communities.
So you go there and educate the people?
Definitely, we go there. So we organize campaigns, we call them out, we teach them how to actually take care of themselves, the mothers, the fathers, and we not just talking about comprehensive sexual education, but even about gender equality, because we're not just trying to fight against what we wish to fight against gender-based violences as well, and the violences perpetrated against
women and girls.
Yes.
So you are both quite young. How long have you been advocating? Or how long have you been at HOVIUCA, or have you been advocating before HOVIUCA?
Before HOVIUCA, I've actually been advocating for almost a year now.
Okay.
But at HOVIUCA, it's been at least 5 months.
What about you, Cloud? How long have you been advocating for?
Before I joined HOVIUCA, I was advocating at my own level. Yeah, of course. And I can't keep count, but at HOVIUCA it has been 5 months, actually.
What are some of the activities that you have been carrying out?
We've been educating not only young girls, but boys, since we want gender equality,
of course. At the personal level?
Yes. No, at the general level.
All right.
At HOVIUCA as a whole. They've been educating not only young girls like me, but boys too, like Emmanuel, who will be able to stand up and not fight for the girls. Because it's not our thing. It's not the girls' thing, but it's the community as a whole. It's our thing.
What pushed you? What is your motivation?
Let's say I've always been sensitive when the male gender tries to overpower in different aspects, like the fact that they consider the females are naturally
a weak gender.
Yes, that they are weak, so they don't have a say, and the excessive rate of patriarchy. Yeah.
What about you, Emmanuel? What was your motivation to get into advocacy?
One of my personal values, which I uphold the most, is equality. It pains me when I see people treated unfairly. It pains me when I see young girls suffering a lot in the hands of men. It pains me a lot when I see people being unjustly treated. And when I saw the call from Hovuka, I knew that that is where I have to, that I need to go into.
All right, very well. I thought that you will both tell me about personal experiences, maybe with family members that were mistreated and or whatnot that pushed you to get into this. But if that is the reason, then I wish you all well in your advocacy journey. Do you have any word for the end? Emmanuel, any word for the end? If nothing to say, then Cloud, do you have anything for the end?
Okay, I would like to tell our parents first that talking to your children about comprehensive sexuality education as a whole is very important. Do not neglect certain aspects and concentrate only on certain. That is preaching to them about abstinence only. Because if you don't tell them, the social media will tell them. Right. And if they get the information from the wrong sources, then everything is going to go wrong. But you can avoid that by telling them yourself so that they can know how to go about it and how to deal with peer pressure and deal with the community as a whole.
Thank you very much, you, Cloud, and Emmanuel, for bringing to light problems related to sexual education, but also comprehensive sexual education. Juste derrière, retrouvons Valérie Naesomba. Elle revient cette semaine avec les astuces.
Le stress est une mise en alerte du corps face à une situation que l'organisme perçoit comme une agression. Pour éviter que le stress ne prenne le dessus sur votre vie, il est important d'apprendre à le gérer. Nous vous proposons quelques petits ajustements quotidiens qui peuvent vous aider à prendre du recul. Un sommeil de qualité. Il est important d'avoir une bonne nuit de sommeil car si vous êtes fatigué, votre organisme se met en alerte. Faire du sport pour se relaxer. Avoir une activité physique régulière va vous aider à mieux gérer le stress. Nous vous proposons de pratiquer le yoga, la course et la boxe. Adopter une alimentation anti-stress. Une alimentation variée et équilibrée est la clé de la santé mentale. Nous vous recommandons pour cela d'adopter des aliments riches en oméga 3. Nous vous conseillons également le chocolat noir qui est un aliment adéquat pour lutter contre le stress. Évitez les boissons telles que le café, l'alcool, le thé et même les boissons énergisantes et sucrées car bien qu'il y ait un côté réconfortant et stimulant, ces boissons sont néfastes mais surtout augmentent le stress. Pratiquez la méditation, la respiration pour bien gérer le stress. Face à un pic de stress, pensez à contrôler votre respiration avec des exercices simples et de la méditation qui peuvent vous calmer rapidement. Parler des situations de stress à des amis et à son entourage et se confier peut s'avérer positif dans votre combat contre le stress. Choisissez une personne de confiance capable d'écouter et d'être bienveillante pour vous aider à traverser une situation stressante. Adoptez une positive attitude. Il est judicieux de relativiser lorsqu'on se sent submergé par une situation. Dédramatiser et faire la différence entre les problèmes graves et les petits tracas du quotidien en étant optimiste. Faites-vous plaisir en créant un équilibre entre le travail et les loisirs. Prenez le temps de rire et de vous amuser car cela vous permettra d'éviter le stress. Pensez à consulter un professionnel de la santé si le stress gâche votre vie de manière persistante et que vous n'arrivez pas à le canaliser vous-même. Voilà qui met fin à notre astuce cette semaine. Prenons rendez-vous la semaine prochaine pour une nouvelle astuce.
Thank you, Valérie Naesomba. You deserve every accolade you're getting from these program. The doctor this week will be telling us about something very particular. Do well to listen to our doctor and give us feedback. Bonjour, docteur.
Bonjour, c'est le docteur Tsatsop. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler des habitudes pour prendre soin de votre peau. Un conseil très simple, la nuit, avant d'aller vous coucher, prenez l'habitude de vous laver le visage avec de l'eau froide. Ceci tout simplement parce que quand vous lavez le visage avec de l'eau froide va stimuler la microstimulation des vaisseaux sanguins qui sont au niveau du visage. Ceci va renouveler, ceci va porter à un renouvellement des cellules de façon assez fréquente et vous allez avoir une peau toujours rayonnante. Donc vraiment, pas besoin d'utiliser des produits très compliqués. Prenez l'habitude de vous nettoyer le visage. C'était votre docteur. On dit merci docteur et je vous dis à très bientôt.
Merci, doctor, and see you next week if God wills. It is on this note, ladies and gentlemen, that we draw curtains on today's edition of Health Update on the African Television. We're hoping that you learned a thing or two. We urge you to stay glued to the rest of the programs of the African Television Vision 4. Our rebroadcast is scheduled for 10 a.m. on Sundays. Meantime, our number is on the screen. You could get to us for various topics or things you would want us to improve on the program. You could also follow us on our various social media handles, notably on Facebook at Health Update Vision 4, but also on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Diana_Ngwang. Until next week, do stay glued to the rest of the programs of the African Television. Have a beautiful weekend and good morning from Yaoundé.